Gamer back again. Not only am I apparently a very big video game pack rat, but I also tend to save very old files that from over a decade ago. I found a question that I posed to Chris Slate on a blog he was running at the time, and I checked the file properties, and apparently I saved this and made the original file on January 1st, 2005. So this is over 11 years old, and it's just a really quick question I asked him about how his process for writing reviews is. I don't know if you're familiar with Chris Slate. He was editor-in-chief of Game Players magazine, then he moved on to PSM, and then he moved on to Nintendo Power after Future Networks, or Future, the publishers bought Nintendo Power and the rights to that. I checked his Twitter page, and apparently he actually works for Nintendo themselves now. But he always seemed like a really nice guy, really awesome guy too. PSM is one of my favorites, magazines in my archives, because it always seemed like the guys who wrote for that magazine really enjoyed their job and had a really fun time. But I figured this advice would be relevant now more towards YouTube for those who write, video reviews, because we don't really read anymore, do we? We just really mostly want to watch a YouTube video review. I still like writing out text reviews, but most people don't like writing them and don't really read them anymore. So I figured some of this information that he shared with me would be relevant and helpful and give other people insights into just different techniques. And this guy was a professional. He did this for a living. Every month he had to review games, and not just one, but probably multiple games, obviously. But so with no further ado, here's the question that I asked him, and then I will give the answer that he gave me. So this is the question I asked him. Chris, I've got a question about reviewing games. I like to review games on certain online game sites, but my main problem is that it takes me hours to write a review. Sometimes it takes me an hour just to write one sentence. My problem is that if I'm talking to someone, I can easily tell them what I like and do not like about a game. But when it comes to sitting down and writing it, I have no clue where to start or what to focus on. Do I start with the story, the gameplay, or something else? Does it change depending on the game, or is there a set format that you guys play off of? What do you do? Do you just wing it, or do you have a system? Any insight you can provide is greatly appreciated.
勝者犬夜叉その程度じゃ奈落とは無理だぜ
And here's the answer that Chris Slate responded to me with. What a great question. A lot of writers have approached reviews in different ways. But speaking for myself, I start by jotting down notes as I'm playing the game. Anything that jumps out at me about the game, both positive and negative, I put down as it happens. After I'm done with the game, I go back over my notes and start rearranging them, pairing up comments that are similar or touch on related subjects. Finally, once the notes are in order, I'll look back over them and cut out any comments that, in hindsight, seem fairly insignificant to the big picture. This outline process can take a bit of time because you'll tend to end up with a lot of notes to sort through. Way more text, probably, than you'll include in the final review. But this process is invaluable because it will provide you with a roadmap as to how the final review should flow. The tricky part is knowing what to include in the final review and what to exclude. You don't want to go on and on about an aspect of the game that, in the big picture, doesn't really affect the outcome of your review very much. And you'll also want to be careful not to sound overly positive or negative. Stop. That's something that reviewers today really need to figure out. Okay, sorry. This is my stop right here. Okay, back. For example, one trap that you'll see that I've seen plenty of reviewers fall into is that they'll give a game a great score, then spend most of the review over detailing its few faults. Subconsciously, they expect you to know that the game is great, so they're drawn towards what seems interesting to them. The little bit of bad stuff. But that just leads to a weird review that doesn't match the score at the end. I try to keep in mind how I would discuss this game with a friend. In fact, it can be really helpful to record yourself doing this, even speaking to yourself. When talking, you'll naturally jump to the game's major points first, which can help you decide what to focus on in your text. Also, maybe write a 100-word review of the game first. This will force you to identify the essentials of what you have to get across, and you can then arrange your smaller comments over those few main, overarching points. Hope some of this helps you. And there you have it. That's Chris Slate's response to me when I was just a young 21-year-old, wondering how a professional reviewer does his outline, or how he orders his review. And so hopefully his insights might be helpful to the aspiring YouTube reviewers. Even if you don't use any of his insights, it's always good to know how different technique. It's always good to keep your mind open to different techniques, even if you never use them, or you can take parts of what he said. And hopefully I did this justice by reading some tomes that don't read so well. But Chris Slate, awesome guy, one of the few video game, old school game editors, magazine editors, gaming media people that I actually respect. And so, pretty awesome guy, and it was awesome for him to respond to me. And it's kind of weird that I just randomly still have this on my computer hard drive so I can share with you. But with that said, 2D Gamer signing out.